Hello, hi everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to another workshop under AI for Bharat program. Today we are going to learn how to build an image editing serverless app. So thank you so much for joining. And for those who are joining us for the very first time, again, AI for Bharat is a structured two-phase AI program where we help you learn and we also help you build with two phases. The first phase is learning phase where we have a couple of workshops, hands-on labs, hero challenges, and the second phase is hackathon phase where whatever you have learned in the first phase, you actually get to apply those skills and build prototypes. Next, since every week we have Hero Weekly Challenge, for which each week there is a new topic around which you have to build something using Hero. We already have announced week one winners, and those who might have missed it, we have Manish, Deepika, and Vikas as our top first, second, and third winners for the week one challenge. So congratulations to those who were in the top three. If you have joined us today, and for week two, we are currently in progress, and most probably in the coming days, couple of days itself, we'll announce the week two challenges as well. For week three, your task is to build a dashboard that mashes up two unrelated data sources to show something interesting. For example, weather versus Zomato orders. Okay, stock prices versus moon phases. Great. Every week, a new challenge is launched under Hero Challenge, where you have to build something using Hero. For example, our previous challenges were micro tools and lazy automation. And once you have built something, you have to submit two things on the program portal. One is the GitHub repo with .hero file, and second is a technical blog published on AWS Builder Center with supporting documents like your code snippets. And every week we announce three winners who win amazing swags like mechanical keyboard, mouse, Gabbit ring, backpacks, and more. As I mentioned earlier, this week's challenge is already live, so you can start building and get one step closer to upskilling and winning amazing rewards. Now, let's welcome our speakers for today. I am so glad to see both women speakers. You can definitely say I am biased when it comes to women in tech. So I'm so glad to welcome Ananya and Ashita here. They both are developer advocates at AWS. Hello, hi.
Hi.
Hi Shweta. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Okay, thanks Shweta for this opportunity and to the wonderful people who have joined here and watching us live today. I'm Ananya. I'm a developer advocate at AWS and I have 8+ years of experience with machine learning, AI, Gen AI, and product building services.
So, hi everyone. Glad to see all of you here. I'm Ashita, a developer advocate at AWS, and I have 9+ years of experience in open source and full stack development. So, let me ask all of you a question. So, how many of you have built and deployed a complete application end to end? And when I say deployed, not just running on local host, but actually available for real users on the internet. So quickly drop a yes in the chat if you have done, if you have deployed a complete application end to end.
Awesome.
Awesome, Kanishk.
Go team.
Yes, no, whether you have done it. Okay. I see some yeses, I see some nos. Don't worry. Today, you are going to deploy an end to end application on the internet, accessible by real users.
Okay. Thanks, Ashita. So, team, before we begin with today's workshop, just recapping what we have gone through in the previous workshops. I am sure a lot of you have been part of those workshops where we talked about Amazon Bedrock, we talked about concepts of generative AI, we talked about how you can take your data and retrieve information from that through the RAG workshop that we had in the second one. We also went through the different nuances of text, image, video, and multimodal LLMs. Today, we will be taking it to the next level where we not only have Amazon Bedrock giving you the power to edit images, but also, as Ashita pointed out, this will be a serverless app that you can deploy, share it with your friends, family, and they can all test it out, right? You can get fabulous images and get them started. Okay, so quickly, I will be sharing my screen. If I can get some thumbs up in the chat. Are we making everything from scratch? Yes, you will be. All right. Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So yes, as we were talking, we will be building an image editing serverless app. But before we go to that, how many of you have used any photo editor app, be it Adobe Photoshop or any other Photoshop tools that you have used? If you can name them in the chat, and you can let me know how many of the images that you have, image editor apps you have used, what kind of image editor apps you have used, what kind of photos you have edited. If you got the response in less than 5 minutes in those particular apps that you were using, and how complex it was for you. Something in the chat. Yay, yay, yay. Okay. Okay. Okay, Canva, Photoshop. Okay, Lightroom. A lot of tools people have used. Okay, amazing, 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 amazing. Okay. Before we begin, let me tell you a story. What happened when Ashita and I went to Sydney? We had a recent, very fabulous trip there, and we were trying to click pictures, and we had very good setting. It was a sunset at the beach, and I took a photo with Ashita. And guess what happened in the background? We saw 5 birds and a horse there, and our photo was bombed. We were like, can we find a place where we can edit this image and remove all these unwanted objects from the backend? So we tried a lot of apps. We tried selecting the objects that we wanted to remove. We tried selecting the birds separately. We tried selecting the horses separately. And we were all trying to figure out what we can do to edit this image. That is when Ashita and I came up with this idea of building an app, a serverless app where I just put an image. I have some objects that I want to remove. It could be any object, a human, a horse, a car, a vehicle, a four-wheeler or two-wheeler, any particular object that is photo bombing you basically. You want to remove those, and it should be done with just one prompt that you write into the tool, and it should be giving you an edited image. So quickly what I'll do is I'll share with you the tool that we built. Yay! Everyone can see this? Awesome.
A quick thumbs up if you can see on the screen.
Yeah, okay, okay. So this is the final outlook of the tool that you will be seeing once you have built your app. But now I will be showing you how I used it to edit one of the images that I had. So here we are having a authentication mechanism, and once we walk you through the labs later, you will be able to see that. But now I had an image of a cup, which I had to add some roses because I was going to send it to my friends. I just selected the cup, I selected the mask, and then I went ahead, selected the mode of painting, and we'll again come back and explain to you what different modes are, what we are going to do as a part of this. But let's focus on how the output comes. Ooh, I had some roses edited, and just not one version. I had 2 different versions of the images getting generated, and whichever one I like, I can just send it to my friend. We'll do these live again once we have explained to you what you will be doing as a part of the lab. But now handing it over to Ashita for going through the workshop.
Yeah, so I will first go ahead and answer some questions. So, Rajat, you had a question about whether this will be hands on. Yes, you will get an opportunity to do everything hands on, to use all the services, all the features that we talk about today. And some of you had questions regarding email. So there's an email that has gone, and the subject of the email is Workshop 3. Reminder, Workshop 3 image editing serverless app starts today at 4 p.m. IST. The email was sent around 3:30 today in the afternoon. So you can just go search for it. You will get all the instructions there. So now let's move ahead. And what we will talk about now is the architecture. So, as Ananya showed you, when you open your browser and type in your URL, within seconds, boom, you see your image editor interface. So, now we'll walk through how our application works, what is going behind the scenes from the moment a user is opening their browser to the moment they're actually able to see those roses, beside the cup. So, we'll see what is happening behind the scenes. So we have a web browser. Yeah. So let me quickly draw. So we have a web browser, right? And the moment we open our web browser and type in the application URL, we are able to see the editor app. But where is it coming from? So all our website files, all our HTML, CSS, our JavaScript files, they actually live in AWS Amplify. And now with Amplify, you can either do a manual deployment with a zip file. This is something that you'll be doing in today's workshop. Or you can also do a JIT push. And whenever you update and push your code to JIT, it will automatically deploy the latest version. But wait, before you can start editing images, the application needs to know who you are, like a digital bouncer. And this is where Cognito comes into play. So for our authentication, we have Cognito. And Cognito is going to take care of all the authentication, your username, your password, your OTPs. And it will ensure that only verified users get past this point. And you have experienced some form of authentication. So, like for registering for today's workshop, for being able to attend today's workshop, you had to register, right? That is a form of approval, that is a form of authentication. So, if you don't have any Cognito approval, you're not able to access the app. So, well, now our user is logged in, and now is when the fun begins. So, our authenticated user is going to click that button or type in a creative prompt like, say, a cat riding a skateboard in space. Okay, and what are they trying to do? They want to upload their image and they're sending a request. So where is this request going? Straight to Amazon API gateway. So we'll have our API gateway here. It's going straight to API gateway. Now, how can you think about API gateway? So the browser is basically sending your request over secure HTTPS to Amazon API gateway. And you can think of it as your application's front desk. And your API gateway is going to check, is this request secure? Is my user authorized? Does this request follow the rules? If anything looks fishy, rejected. But if everything checks out, it allows the request to go through. Now that our requests have gone through, API gateway is not going to do the heavy lifting. Instead, it is going to call in the specialists. And who are the specialists here? The specialists are your AWS Lambda functions. And AWS Lambda functions are the specialists and each of them have a specific job. You can think of them as a team of expert workers, where one is responsible for, say, generating images from text, where another is responsible for editing existing image. Say one is responsible for storing all that to a database. Okay. So all of these are our specialized workers. And each lambda has an IAM role. Now you can consider an IAM role like a security badge. Just like basis your security badge, you have access to certain floors in an office. Similarly, this IAM role tells Lambda what it can access. So our Lambda, whether it can access, say, Bedrock, whether it can access a database, all that is decided by our IAM role. And here we bring in the principle of least privilege. They can only touch what they need. Nothing more, nothing less. So now that we've also set up Lambda, where is actually all the editing magic happening? So our Lambda functions are going to tap into Bedrock. You want to edit an image with AI? Bedrock is going to handle it. And what is Amazon Bedrock? So just a quick show of hands, yes or no in the chat, whether you have heard of Amazon Bedrock before or not. Yes, if you have heard of Amazon Bedrock before. No, if you don't know about it. Anshu has heard of it. Ria has not heard of it. More interaction, more interaction.
Awesome.
Great, great. So let me tell you what Amazon Bedrock is. So basically, it's a platform that lets you build Gen AI applications by leveraging the leading foundation models. And it has tools for fine tuning, for safeguarding, and optimizing your models along with knowledge bases to connect applications to your latest data. And it has everything that you need to quickly move from experimentation to real world deployment. And Bedrock is the secret sauce that is making our application intelligent and creative. So Bedrock is giving us AI capabilities. Now that we have built everything, we also want to remember, every image that we have generated, every edit that we have made, every prompt that we have sent, all those creative moments, we want to remember it all. And that is where Amazon DynamoDB comes in. So Lambda is going to access it. Yeah. So here we have our DynamoDB. And this is a database. So here in the workshop, you'll be creating an image generation table and it will store all the details. And your Lambda functions will write new data whenever any image is created. And you will also be able to read it when the users want to see their history. So it's all seamless and instant. So some of you wanted me to just go through the architecture again. So I'll do that. So there are these key components that are included. So first, you have to understand that for authentication, we are using Amazon Cognito. It's responsible for all the user management that we are doing. Then we are using Amplify for our application hosting. We are using API gateway for our REST endpoints. We are using our Lambda for all the computation. So it's a serverless application. You don't need to deploy any servers. We are using DynamoDB to save all the data, and we are using Bedrock with Titan Image Generator for image editing. So just recap it, revising everything that we've done. So when you click on the web browser, when you type in the URL, you're able to see your image editor. How does that happen? That happens because all your website files live in AWS Amplify, and that is responsible for hosting. Before you can actually go ahead and edit your application, edit your images, the application needs to know who you are, you know, and that is where Amazon Cognito comes in. It's responsible for all of the authentication. Then you get authenticated. And once you get authenticated, you are uploading your image, writing in the prompt, and you are sending in a request. So that request goes straight to Amazon API Gateway. And Amazon API Gateway is protected by strict security policies, and it ensures only authorized requests get through. Always remember, your API Gateway is not doing the heavy lifting. Instead, it is calling in our specialists. Our specialists are AWS Lambda functions, and they each have a specific job. So, like one is going to call Bedrock to get the images edited. The other is going to go ahead and save everything in the database. That is our DynamoDB. And for this, each Lambda has an IAM role, which is like a security badge that ensures that they can only access what they need. Nothing more, nothing less. And all this magic is happening because of Amazon Bedrock, which gives us the power to leverage these foundational models and provides us all these tools that we need to move from experimentation to real world deployment.
Yes, and Ashita, you called out Amazon Bedrock. So today we will be using that to edit certain images. But what exactly we are doing? Uh, First, we will be selecting a mask in an image. And what is a mask? It's an object or a outline that you draw for any object that you want to edit. And there are two modes that today we will be looking at. One is in painting and out painting. The in painting is when you select a particular mask and you modify the objects within that particular mask that you have selected. Maybe let's say I showed you, right, that I selected the cup and I want to add a sticker to that cup. So that would be in painting. And let's say I wanted to do something outside that mask, is what is out painting. Like I added roses next to the cup. That becomes my out painting. So these are the two modes we will be looking at. There are other definitely methods, for example, background removal, object detection and removal, noise removal from images. So a lot of things that you can do, but today we will be focusing on these particular capabilities.
Now, time for some quiz. So quickly get your hands on your keyboard, and we'll be asking you a few questions, and you can type in the answer on the in the chat. Okay, so let me start with the first question. It's a true or a false? Um, AWS Lambda requires you to manage and provision servers for your backend logic. How many of you think it is true or false? Write the answer in the chat. False, no. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yes. Does AWS Lambda require you to manage and provision servers for your backend logic? I can see a lot of false no in the chat. Yes, you are correct. AWS Lambda is serverless. You don't need to manage or provision any servers. The answer is false. So we talked about Amazon DynamoDB, where Lambda was interacting with DynamoDB to store all the data. So what type of database is DynamoDB? Is it a relational SQL database? Is it a graph database? Is it a NoSQL database, or is it a time series database? Seeing a lot of C's, a lot of NoSQL in the chat. Anyone thinks any other option? Yes. So you are correct. It's a NoSQL database. We talked about Amazon Cognito. So, what is the primary purpose of Amazon Cognito in this architecture? What are we using it for? Are we using it for image storage and retrieval? Are we using it for user authentication and management? Are we using it for API endpoint creation or for serverless compute processing? I see an A in the chat. I see a lot of B's in the chat. Yeah, so Amazon Cognito was our digital bouncer, and yes, we use it for user authentication and management. Okay. So another question, why is Amazon DynamoDB chosen over a relational database like RDS for this serverless application? Is it because it provides better SQL query support? Is it because it offers no SQL storage with fast performance suitable for serverless architecture? Is it because it is cheap? Or is it because it can automatically generate REST APIs? Quickly, quickly, everyone. 30 seconds more. Roshan says it has to be B. Kumud, no SQL and serverless. So you all are absolutely right. Yes, because it offers no SQL storage with fast performance suitable for serverless architectures. DynamoDB is a no SQL storage.
Okay. So the last question, and let's type the responses in the chat. Which model type will you use for editing both the text and image? Do you think you will use a large language model, a multimodal model, a vision LLM, or a RAG for editing both text and images? Let's see some responses in the chat. Okay. Okay. I see someone wrote D. Okay. Someone wrote C.
Here we have the audience mixed. We have people putting in all the options. We have A, we have B, we have C, we have D.
Okay. Okay. 5 seconds more. Let's get more responses. Okay. I see B, 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 B. Okay. So going back to the basics again, those who of you said B, multimodal model, you are right. Because when we have both text, image, maybe videos, audios, we will be using multimodal models for editing, generating, and even summarizing for any of the operations that you want to do as part of Gen AI. The other models are used specifically as they are called out. For example, large language models generally deal in text. Vision models, they deal mostly with images and video scripts. The RAG is not a LLM model. It is a technique which you will use to get your answers retrieved, some questions you might have from a large set of documents. You might want to retrieve the information. You might want to have a summary of retrievals of different responses. That is why you will use RAG, but it's a technique. It's not a model. RAG can be used for voice. Yes, of course. So if you have voice scripts, you have audio scripts, definitely you can post a question and there you can get some responses. Cool, cool, cool. So I see a lot of people engaging with the chat, Ashita. So
Yeah.
shall we take you now through the labs? What you will be building as part of this? Quickly, I'll share back my screen and walk you through this. Okay, amazing. So, as we called out earlier, you must have received your emails stating the joining link for the workshops. Hold on before you start the workshops, because there are certain guidelines, there are certain steps that we want you to follow before you actually work on these labs. When you join in to the workshop studio, on the left hand side you will be able to see the complete labs that you have to go through, what these labs are, what processes you will be doing. I'll be walking you through few of them. So, of course, the getting started, there are two options to join. But if you have received the link, you will be starting with the AWS event. But don't worry, if you have not received the link, you can go for the option two, where you have your own AWS account and you use the same lab to follow through the steps and do your own labs on the application. Okay, starting with, I'll also come and show you how you will be logging in, what is a console. But let's first go through the labs and then actually get into the activity. So the first step is to deploy a Cognito user pool, because we want to have secure authentication and only authorized users should be able to perform the application executions. Do mind it that there are multiple steps within labs. So when you start working on it, you might see step 1, step 2 in lab 1 itself. Similarly, when you go to DynamoDB, you might be seeing there are certain multiple steps within this. Because this is a team setting, everyone, do mind that the applications that you will be seeing or the services that you will be seeing will be searched with this name. But when you try to enter the names, and there's a guideline document we will be sharing at the end in our Discord channel also, and you must have received it as a part of the email also. The applications that you will be naming should follow certain guidelines so that you and your teammates all can build this application at the same time, right? So there will be certain nomenclature that you want to follow. For example, user underscore, if my name's Ananya, I will be user underscore Ananya. I have Ashita, so who will be user underscore Ashita. So different naming nomenclatures that we have here. The third step is where we want to deploy the AWS Lambda function. These labs, we have also included video walkthroughs. So if you are stuck anywhere, you can always go check out what step it was. You can view the video walkthroughs. You can see how to search for Cognito, how to deploy Cognito, what exact steps you need to follow. Similarly, for DynamoDB table, when you are creating the DynamoDB table, what kind of keys you need to select, what are the options you need to select, how you want to name it. All these should be included in the video walkthrough lab. Coming to the third one, similarly for Lambda, this is the core heart of your application, because this is what is going to interact with both DynamoDB and your Amazon Bedrock, pardon me. So here you might want to see the complete code. You might want to understand what is actually happening. Amazon Bedrock as a service, you will not be interacting with it directly. However, when you go through this code, you can see the different operations that you will be doing, where you select a base image, where you select the mask, where you select what kind of operation you want to do, whether it's in painting or out painting, what kind of models you will be using. Everything should be mentioned here. And as you are seeing here, we are calling the Amazon Titan image generator version 2 model. So this is the only model that you will have access to for this particular workshop. So anything on image editing, you can use this particular model and edit your images. So this Amazon Lambda will help you with the connections to DynamoDB for storing your data, and for connections to Amazon Bedrock for editing your images. So you can see on the top here, exactly around line 41 is where your DynamoDB table is mentioned, where it's going to save the ID, timestamp, what image did you give, what was the ID of the model that you used, was it a success, was it a failure, was there some error. And again, when you look at these details later on, you interact with these details, you get to know what happens in the backend.
So moving ahead, you will there are 3 more labs. You'll be doing creating an Amazon API gateway. So like we discussed, certain steps that you have to just make sure while creating your API gateway. You'll be asked to select a security policy and make sure that you select the security policy 1320 TLS 13. And you will find all these instructions in the guidelines document that we are sharing. So make sure that you see there are snapshots as well so that you know which security policy to select. Then in the second step, for configure post method, follow all the steps that are there and make sure that you select the correct region. Otherwise, your Lambda function will not appear. And if there is a region mismatch, your Lambda function is not going to appear. So whenever you do, just make sure that you select the correct region. And also in response transfer mode, there are 2 options. So make sure you select the buffered option. All these instructions again provided in the guidelines. And while doing this lab, just make sure that you follow all the steps. So like configure post method, then setting up authorization, you'll have to set up the cognito authorizer, select the user pool from the drop down menu. So in case you don't get your user pool, just make sure that you copy the ARN, which will be there in the user pool page in the cognito section. So make sure that you do all these steps. If you miss a single one of them, uh, you will get an error towards the end. So make sure that all these steps you cover. And once you are done with all these steps, you can simply go ahead and deploy your API. So this is for deploying the API gateway. The next step is for AWS Amplify. And in Amplify, the way you have to do it is there's a zip code that is there in the workshop. So just download the zip and you will have to open your config folder and there is a config.js file there. And you can clearly see all these details you'll have to input there. So in the Cognito lab, it was written where you had to copy the user pool ID and the client ID. In the API gateway, once you deploy your API gateway, you get the invoke URL. So if you just go down here, so it's mentioned here where you can copy your invoke URL. And in case of any doubts, always look at the video walkthrough to figure out what you need to copy and how you need to do it. So keep all these values handy and you will have to go open your config.js and update these values. Again, you can see that how it's being done in the video walkthrough. So you can use any editor to edit your file. You can use VS Code, you can use your favorite editor and just edit the values there. Once you are done with that, you will have to create an entire zip again. So like you can see, it's renamed AWS Amplify Updated Code Zip and simply just make sure that all the files are selected before you create the zip. You can again look at the video walkthrough and then you can deploy your AWS Amplify application. So while deploying, again look at the guidelines and make sure that you add your name to the application. Do not delete any other person's application on AWS Amplify that is already deployed. So it's important to know, make sure that because you're working in teams, just append your name to all the resources that you are creating. So for deploying, you will have to simply upload your zip. You can drag and drop basically, and it will get deployed. And you will also get the URL. So you can just click on visit deployed URL and you'll be able to see your application. So now coming to testing your application, there is a sample image that is already attached that you can use to basically test your application. But to submit, we'll recommend you using different images. Try out different images. We talked about the in painting and the out painting modes. Try out those modes, try different prompts to test out the application. And you will also be able to see all the DynamoDB logging. So the logging that we talked about, the part that we talked about remembering everything. So you'll be able to see all this data in the image generation table that you generate with your name. So all this will be available and you'll be able to test your application. So just reiterating some of the guidelines. So just make sure this is a team setting. So append your name to all the services that you create. So for example, if you're creating your table in DynamoDB image generation table, just append your name. So image generation table underscore Ashita underscore Ananya. Do not delete any other person's resource. Try to use a different image. Just don't use the sample image that is there for submission. All these guidelines will be shared on Discord, and if you have any problems, just go through the document again. And if you still have any issues, please post your queries on Workshop 3 support section channel in Discord. Again, make sure that you are doing all the steps for all the labs. If you miss steps, if you miss IM role assignments, you will get errors. Look at the video walkthroughs. You have video walkthrough for every step. Look at them in case you are stuck and you're not able to figure out how to select, which option to select, or what to do. And remember, we are there. So please just add your queries in the Discord channel and we'll be there to help you in case of any errors, any queries that you have. And do share it with your friends, because this is, you are able to build an application not just on a local host, but actually production ready, which is accessible for the entire world. And so who's excited for it? Like, let's get a thumbs up on the chat.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the guideline, this is the document. You can see the guidelines. Okay, so we will now look at some questions.
Quickly stop sharing. How to join Discord? So you will be getting a link, and if not already, I'll paste it in the chat.
So this entire session you can do on Workshop Studio, and you'll be getting the link in the email. The reminder Workshop 3 image editing serverless app starts today at 4 p.m. IST. This is the subject of the email, and you will be getting all the links there. Glad to see all the thumbs up. Really looking forward to all your creative creations.
So someone posted how to go to the labs. So quickly just sharing back my screen and I'll walk you through it. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So once you have logged in using the AWS Builder ID, you will be redirected to this page, which you are right now seeing on my screen. On the left hand side, as I mentioned, you will be able to see all the labs. You will be able to see what steps you need to do. And just below that, you will have account access, which redirects you to the AWS console. Once you click on this, you get to see so you get to see the console logging in. Because I have recently visited, I have done the application deployment, I am able to see the services. When you log in for the first time, it will be clean, or if your teammates have already done that, do check it out and do not delete any of the resources. Few of the FAQs, we have been getting these queries from previous interactions that we are not able to log in simultaneously on different tabs, or maybe our session just got logged out. How do we re-log in? So if you are if you are trying multiple sessions, you might get these issues. So we would always encourage have only one active session of this particular application console. Always do check out whether your teammate has deployed the service. If yes, then please do not touch those services. You redeploy with your own name. For example, both Ashita and I were trying, so you are now seeing two different tables. The other services also you can see and check out how your teammates are building. But as a general practice, let's not delete anything, let's not clean up any other resources, because once the event ends, everything will be getting auto deleted. However, this is only for the Workshop Studio. When you do it in your actual environment with your own AWS accounts, we would encourage you to keep track of the services you are using, because they definitely incur cost.
Any questions regarding the workshop? Any questions regarding any service? Any doubt you have?
So people who have registered for today's workshop only will be receiving the link today. The people who have registered for other slots, you will be receiving the links a day before or on the day itself of the workshop. So do wait, do check the confirmation of the dates that you have received, the slots for. I have not received the link. Yeah, again, same thing. Do check out when you have actually registered and what date you have been confirmed. So you will receive the links on those dates.
So there are some questions about teammates. Your teammates are auto assigned. You will get the access to the link to your workshop studio, uh, you which is being shared by your team. So you can just follow all the steps like we showed. And whether you are creating your API gateway, whether you're creating your tables, whether you're creating your user pool, just append your name to it. And do not delete any other person's resource. So we get a question. There's a question: how long I have to perform this lab? So it started at 4 p.m. today, and you have 48 hours access to the lab.
Yes. So it closes at 3:59 on the 11th of December.
No, Kumud, you're not making your own teammates. You don't have to basically do anything in that regard.
Any other questions on the submissions, on the registrations? After this, we will be sharing both the FAQs, the guidelines, and the FAQs over our Discord channel. Do go through it. Still, if you have questions, do ping us. Access denied on console. How do I access the lab? So do check out if you have registered with the same builder ID that you were using to initially access the event.
So
Yes.
okay. So there's a question. Can an API gateway have multiple Lambda functions? Yes, an API gateway can have multiple Lambda functions, and this is a very common pattern. So you can have it. How to distribute work? You don't have to distribute it. You can actually do all the steps. Just make sure that you don't delete any other person's resource. And look through the guidelines document before getting started. Just give a read.
So for submissions, you will be sharing the application that you have deployed, the UI that I showed. Similar to that, you will be also building, and the image that you have edited, the original image and the final image that you got post the edit. Yes, you can document your work. As a part of the submissions, you will be writing a blog where you can document what you learned, any solution that you built, your experience from this workshop, and also if you have built something cool out of the services that were used as a part of this application, you can write that also. You can start the labs as we speak. The event has already started. The deadline to complete this is 3:59 p.m. on 11th of December.
The labs have already started, Anand.
Do we have any more questions if we want to take?
Can anyone please? So mostly the link sharing, I think, Shweta, but we have already called that out that once they register, that is when they get the links and on the date they have registered.
Yes, yes. Only those who have booked their slots for today must have received an email with the unique access link. Otherwise, if you have booked the slot for Thursday or for Saturday, you will receive the link on the same day so you can access the workshop. If you have forgotten to book or you were late or anything, the slots are now open for workshop 4, which is for next week. So you can go log into the platform and book your slot for next week's workshop. There is one question. Is if we restart the lab, so will it still be saved what they have done? This one.
Yes. So if you restart the labs, your work will be saved because in this you will be deploying the different AWS services. And as we uh, asked you to properly follow the guidelines where you name the services with underscore your name so that the work is retained or the services are retained.
So the question, there is another question that I see: are all the steps available? So the labs that we showed you in Workshop Studio, when you go, every step is available in text as well as a video walkthrough. You exactly know what is to be done.
For previous workshops 1 and 2, the submission deadline has already passed. So you won't be able to submit anything now. The lab step for building a every step.
So, Kumud, you are asking if there's anything you need to be cautious about. Yes, please do not delete other services. Follow the guidelines of naming your services exactly as you have been asked in the guidelines document.
The guidelines document have been shared in the same email in which you get the access link. It was shared today only. In the morning, first email went out around 11 and then in the afternoon around 3:30. So the doc has everything, all the guidelines, how to log in, what each step all is about, what you have to submit as well. For those asking about the certificates, once you have completed the entire lab, you have also made the submission where we are asking one is the end screen. Once you have completed the lab, the screenshot of that, and a technical blog published on AWS Builder Center. Once you have submitted both the things on time for any workshop, you'll get the certificate associated with that particular workshop. There is one question around what are the capabilities of Bedrock.
So, Amazon Bedrock is primarily to provide you uh, all the foundation models that you have as API, but it also has other capabilities of evaluations, putting in guardrails. It has Bedrock Agent Core, which can provide you the runtime, the memory to execute. Right. Yes. So it has different services. It has all the first party, second party, third party models that you are using, and all the developers around the world, whoever is using different LLM models and multimodal models, it is available. We
Someone is asking whether they can post about it on LinkedIn. Definitely, we encourage you to post it. Do post what output you are getting. Do post the images that you have used. There's a question whether you need to suffix your name for application. So the reason we are asking you to suffix your name is so that everyone knows what their resource is. So the moment you suffix your name, other person will know not to delete or not to edit anything there.
After you submit the submissions, for example, for us to review everything. So 1 or 2 weeks of time before we roll out the certificates for everyone. So for week one, folks who have made the submissions on time, they can expect the certificates by end of this week. Similarly for week two, by end of next week, and so on.
Yes, you can get access for the workshop as we talked about. If you have already registered, then you will get the links where you can access the AWS console and get on with your labs. If you have missed previous workshops, you can go through the recordings. It's already available on Hack to Scale platform, and then you can begin with this workshop.
Uh, yes, so there's a question whether you'll be doing different projects in each workshop. Yes, each workshop is different, focusing on different services, different projects, so that you get a complete overall learning of what you can do.
Okay. For Keto Challenge, again, you have 1 week of time. So let's say for this week, we have announced the challenge on Monday. So you have until Sunday, which is 14 December. 1 week of time to build something as per the week's challenge and then submit on the platform as well. Can you tell if you got the certificate? Repeated that we have already answered. Like if someone wants to start with this or the upcoming workshop, they can. All of them runs independently. So even if you have registered recently and want to do the upcoming workshop, you can. Certificates take 1 to 2 weeks of time to actually get rolled out. If you want to book your slot for the upcoming workshops, you can. The slots are open. You can log into the platform and book your slot. That's all that I can find related to the program. And I believe Ananya and Ashika have answered most of them, which are related to Bedrock and the platform. Great. That's all. Thank you so much, Ananya. Thank you so much, Ashita, for your time.
Thank you, Shweta. Thanks, everyone. You've been fabulous.
Thank you, everyone. Love the engagement.
Thank you. Bye. See you in our next workshop.